Season 1 of Invincible introduces Nolan Grayson, aka the extremely powerful and well-regarded superhero Omni-Man. As Nolan's teenage son Mark begins developing his own powers, Nolan trains him on how to use them, and gives him his first supersuit, made by his friend and tailor Art Rosenbaum. With his new suit and burgeoning powers, Mark gives himself the superhero name Invincible, but unbeknownst to his family, Nolan has a dark secret, and brutally murders the famed superhero team, the Guardians of the Globe. Following the death of the Guardians, the clandestine Global Defense Agency and its head, Cecil Stedman, begin looking into who could have possibly taken out the entire superpowered team. First, Cecil tasks the demon detective Damien Darkblood to uncover the truth. When Damien discovers that Nolan was the killer and wants to take immediate action, Cecil banishes the demon detective back to hell. With the Guardians dead, Earth is in need of a new superhero team to protect it, so Cecil and the GDA promote members of the teen team to become the new Guardians of the Globe. The new Guardians team consists of Black Samson, Monster Girl, Dupli-Kate, Shrinking Ray, Rex Splode, and their new leader Robot, who is actually controlled by the ailing human Rudy Connors. Mark works alongside the new Guardians on several missions, including thwarting the mad scientist D.A. Sinclair, who begins killing college students to turn them into powerful zombie soldiers known as Reanimans. Throughout these missions, fellow superhero Adam Eve develops romantic feelings for Mark, but Mark turns down her advances as he has long harbored a crush on his classmate Amber. Mark's relationship with Amber is cut short when she discovers that he is in fact invincible, but never trusted her to confide his secret. Meanwhile, Nolan's wife Debbie discovers that it was in fact her husband Omni-Man who killed the original Guardians. She turns to Nolan's friend Art for advice, and the two are devastated by this revelation. Debbie then turns to Cecil, who confirms it has become his personal mission to defeat Nolan, and he suspects that only Omni-Man's son Mark has any chance of defeating the most powerful of all superheroes. Meanwhile, Robot seeks out the help of the villainous clones, the Mauler twins, to help him create a new body to replace his dying original one. After gaining his new body, Robot and the Maulers turn on each other, resulting in the Maulers resurrecting the Immortal, the leader of the original Guardians of the Globe. But the Immortal has no interest in fighting Robot for the Maulers, and instead seeks revenge on his killer, Omni-Man. First, Omni-Man faces off against the Immortal, killing him once again. Then Nolan is forced to face off against his own son. Nolan explains to Mark that he is from a race of aliens known as Viltrumites, and was sent to Earth to prepare it for an invasion by the Viltrum Empire. Nolan asks his son to join his cause, but Mark refuses. The father and son superpowered battle devastates Chicago, killing thousands of innocent people. Ultimately, Mark is able to remind his father of the love he has for his family, prompting Nolan to flee Earth. Following the battle, Mark and Amber reconcile, while Cecil covers up Nolan's identity as Omni-Man, protecting the Grayson family from scrutiny, then secretly aligns with mad scientist D.A. Sinclair to continue building his Reaniman army to help protect Earth from Viltrumites. As the season comes to a close, Mark is visited by his friend Alan the Alien, a soldier for the Coalition of Planets, who warns that the Viltrumites would soon come to Earth to finish what Omni-Man started. In Season 2, Mark Grayson is still fighting crime as Invincible, but emotionally struggling over the revelation of his father Nolan's horrific and villainous actions. Mark's emotional turmoil and his busy schedule as the superhero Invincible leads to a strain in his relationship with Amber, leading to the two breaking up. Elsewhere, Cecil Stedman revives the Immortal once again and reinstates him as the leader of the Guardians of the Globe. Also joining the Guardians team are the superheroes Bulletproof and Shapesmith. While on a mission in space, the Guardians discover that Shapesmith is actually a Martian who has taken over the body of a human astronaut named Russ Livingston. Shapesmith repents of his lies and helps the Guardians rescue the real Russ, though upon his return home, Russ discovers that he has become the secret host of an alien species known as Sequids, who forge a plan to conquer the Earth. During a mission against the villainous Lizard League, Dupli-Kate is tragically killed, while Rex Splode and Shrinking Ray are critically injured. The Guardians mourn Kate, and Immortal takes her death the hardest, as the pair had developed a romance. Robot develops his own romantic feelings for Monster Girl, who de-ages more and more every time she uses her powers. Having previously found a way to fix his own body, Robot swears to find a way to fix hers. Adam Eve attempts to use her powers for good, manipulating matter to create various structures for the betterment of the city, but her recklessness leads to her creations falling apart, ruining her confidence in her powers. At her lowest point, Mark gives her a pep talk to continue using her powers for good, reigniting Eve's romantic feelings for Invincible. After his assistant Donald was killed by Omni-Man in the Battle of Chicago, Cecil rebuilds him as an android with no memories of his death. Eventually, Donald's memories begin to return and he is forced to confront his new reality as an android. Upon finding peace with his new existence, Donald helps the young and emotional Rick overcome his own traumas after being turned into a reanimant by D.A. Sinclair. Thanks to Donald's help, Rick is able to return to his normal life and resume a relationship with Mark's best friend William. Elsewhere, Alan the alien informs the coalition of planets that Mark is his friend and is not aligned with his father's plan for Viltrumite dominance, earning him the trust of the coalition's leader, Thetis. When Alan is brutally attacked by Viltrumites, Thetis helps him recover to be even stronger than before. He tasks Alan with ensuring Mark is ready to join the fight, and reveals himself to be the first Viltrumite to betray his species, after which he founded the coalition of planets to thwart their villainous galactic expansion plans. Meanwhile, Mark is sought after by an alien from the planet Thraxa, who explains that their home is in grave danger. When Mark travels to Thraxa to save it, he discovers that his father Nolan has been living there as its new ruler. Nolan explains that he was hopeless and depressed following his battle with his son, roaming the galaxy aimlessly before finding and saving a Thraxan ship and being placed in charge as their new leader. Since then, he has married a Thraxan named Andressa, who gave birth to a new son, Oliver. Andressa assures Mark that Nolan lives in constant regret over his actions and truly loves and misses him. When Viltrumites arrive on Thraxa and attack, Mark reluctantly teams up with his father to defeat them and save the planet. Unfortunately, Nolan is then captured by the Viltrumites to face execution, while Mark is forced to return to Earth to prepare it for a Viltrumite invasion, or else the planet will be completely destroyed. Due to the rapid aging process of the Thraxan species, Andressa dies and leaves the young Oliver in Mark's care. Back at home, Debbie Grayson takes in Oliver and chooses to help raise her villainous ex-husband's new child. Art Rosenbaum then gives several books to Mark that his father Nolan had written, which Mark believes may hold the answers of how to defeat the Viltrumites. Mark passes these books off to his friend Alan, but before the alien can bring them to the coalition, he is captured by Viltrumites. Meanwhile, on an alternate Earth, a variant of Invincible chooses to align with Omni-Man to bring forth the Viltrumite invasion. His world destroyed, the benevolent scientist Angstrom Levy uses a portal to arrive in Mark's reality. There, he teams up with the Mauler twins to build a device that allows Angstrom to absorb the memories and knowledge of versions of himself from across the multiverse in order to advance technology in this universe and save other realities from a tragic fate similar to his own. When Cecil learns that the villainous Mauler twins are building such a powerful device, he sends Mark to intervene. As Mark arrives, a brutal fight ensues, resulting in the device's explosion that kills one of the Maulers and leaves Angstrom horrifically scarred. The failed experiment has filled Angstrom's mind with memories of alternate evil versions of Invincible who have all committed heinous acts, driving the scientist mad and leading him to swear vengeance. And so, Angstrom kidnaps Debbie and Oliver, drawing Mark into a final confrontation. When Mark arrives to save his family, Angstrom traps him in an alternate dimension, where the two engage in a brutal battle, ending with an enraged Mark beating Angstrom to death in a fit of rage. Mark has saved his family, but is horrified by the extreme violence that consumed him. A future version of the Guardians then arrive to bring Mark home, leading to the future Adam Eve confessing her love for him. Back on his Earth, Cecil comforts Mark with the truth that no matter how violent his actions, he can never be as bad as his father. As the season comes to a close, Mark seeks solace in Eve, but keeps secret that he had met a future version of her who had declared her love for him. Immortal discovers that Dupli-Kate faked her own death in an effort to retire in peace, and in the end, Alan is placed in the same Viltrumite prison as Omni-Man, who confesses his regrets for his past actions and his continued love for his wife Debbie. In Season 3 of Invincible, Mark continues training his powers under the guidance of Cecil, and when Mark's younger half-brother Oliver begins exhibiting his own powers, Cecil begins training him as well. With life returning to normalcy, Mark reveals to Eve her future self's declaration of love, creating tension in their friendship, though eventually leading to the pair finally beginning to date. Meanwhile, Dupli-Kate's brother Multiple still believes his sister to be dead, and seeks revenge against Splode for failing to save her. Multiple is defeated and arrested, though his employer Mr. Liu of the Villainous Order plots to free him. In the aftermath, Dupli-Kate returns with Immortal, revealing herself to be alive and well to rejoin the Guardians team. Mr. Liu transforms into a dragon to free Multiple, though Mark and Eve arrive to thwart the prison break. Amidst the carnage, Mr. Liu's underling Machine Head escapes from prison alongside Paul, though while Paul flees, Machine Head murders his boss to assume control of the Order himself. Elsewhere, Mark is horrified to learn the extent of Cecil's cutthroat efforts in preparation of the Viltrumite invasion, including supporting the creation of Reanimans and teaming up with the superhero Darkwing, who callously murders any criminal he defeats. Cecil then reveals that he has planted a device in Mark's head that can subdue his powers and cause him harm, ensuring that he will always follow Cecil's orders. Mark turns to the Guardians for help, where Robot destroys the device in his head, and the other heroes assist in destroying the Reanimans. Ultimately, Robot, Splode, Shrinking Ray, Monster Girl, and Bulletproof all join Mark in turning their backs on Cecil and leaving the Guardians, though Immortal, Dupli-Kate, Black Samson, and Shapesmith choose to stay, with Darkwing joining their ranks. Mark then begins independently training Oliver, who declares his desire to be known as the superhero Kid Omni-Man, which Mark advises against, warning of their father's villainy. While on a mission to stop the newly recloned and reunited Mauler twins, Oliver brutally kills them both, and shows no remorse for his actions, leaving Mark worried that his little brother takes too much after their father. Meanwhile, Nolan faces execution for his actions against the Viltrumites. Alan the alien stages a prison break, recruiting a new ally in Battle Beast, and saving Nolan from certain death. Nolan then reveals to Alan that only 50 pure-blooded Viltrumites remain, meaning the rebellion against the oppressive race may actually stand a chance at winning. The highly intelligent robot finally discovers a way to stop his girlfriend Monster Girl from de-aging every time she uses her powers. Shrinking Ray informs her boyfriend Rex of her desire to retire from superheroics, and asks him to join her in living a simpler life together, which he happily accepts. Back during Mark's fight with Omni-Man, which decimated the city of Chicago, GDA employee Scott Duvall's sister and niece were killed in the collateral damage. Scott has plotted revenge ever since, using GDA tech to boost his electric powers. Under the moniker Powerplex, Scott begins terrorizing Chicago in the hopes of drawing Mark into battle. Unfortunately, Scott's recklessness in his pursuit of revenge leads to him accidentally killing his own wife and son. Mark defeats Scott and has him apprehended by GDA, though the villain vows further revenge, while Mark is left reckoning with all of the trauma that his superheroics have caused. Meanwhile, Angstrom Levy is revived by the cybernetic surgeons known as the Technicians, allowing him to plot his ultimate revenge against Mark. Angstrom begins assembling an army of Invincible variants from across the multiverse, having them wreak havoc across the world in order to frame Mark and paint him as a villain. In what becomes known as the Invincible War, Cecil sends his Reaniman to help Mark defeat his evil doppelgangers. After the Guardians join the fight, Darkwing drags a variant into an alternate dimension known as the Shadowverse, while Splode emotionally sacrifices himself to allow his friends and his lover Shrinking Ray safely escape. As the battle rages on, the 8 remaining variants grow tired of Angstrom's orders, so he banishes them to another realm as punishment. Mark arrives and defeats Angstrom, while his little brother Oliver encourages him to kill the villain to ensure his reign of terror comes to a permanent end. Instead, Angstrom flees to the Technicians, who are disappointed in his actions and force him to serve their needs. In the aftermath of the Invincible War, Mark loses the faith of the public, while he is personally shaken by the experience of fighting himself. Before Mark can properly grapple with his emotions, the Viltrumite conquest arrives, learning that Mark is not participating in the subjugation of Earth. The two engage in a brutal fight, decimating cities around the world. Adam Eve arrives to fight by her boyfriend's side, but is mortally wounded by conquest, leaving Mark devastated. But as Mark continues to fight, Eve miraculously uses her powers to heal her injuries and blasts Conquest with enough energy to destroy his skin and allow Mark to kill the Viltrumite villain. In the end, the Guardians come together to mourn Rex Splode, while Robot decides to change his human name from Rudy to Rex to honor his friend. Mark professes his love to Eve once again and proclaims to his younger brother Oliver that he has learned a valuable lesson from him, vowing to kill anyone who comes for their family. And unfortunately for Mark, many threats are drawing near. Russ Livingston begins spreading his Sequid army, while Damian Darkblood begins amassing power in Hell. As D.A. Sinclair uses the dead Invincible variants to strengthen his reanimate army, his partner Cecil reveals to Donald that he has secretly kept Conquest alive and imprisoned, hoping to use him to prepare Earth for the eventual Viltrumite invasion. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and why not check out this recommended video while you're at it.